I want you to join me at a toy shop with our friends from Ciao. Here are the products. Very, very fun. And actually, let me show you this one because it is all glittery, and we're going to get in close. And let me show you even closer. And I'm going to press right here, and there we go. We're going to light the tree up for Christmas. So won't you please come play with us? Okay, let me show you what each of the items are, and I'm going to begin with this one. Now, these tend to be very vintage, and some of them are somewhat dark, which is why I brought in this white piece of cardstock to put underneath this one. Now, this is the Toy Shop 8x8 pad. There are 12 double-sided sheets. They are each different, so that makes choosing your favorite hard. And so let me just walk you through them. So here's the first. Now, this is the girl by the tree. The one on my card is bigger, and that's because it came from the creative pad. So I'll show you the difference in just a second. So anyway, you can use these, of course. You can just trim them out. There's the back side, and it's hard to choose what side of these to use. So here we've got the Toy Shop. And on the back, we've got an overall pattern. Here is another of the little girl. I loved that lace, wanted to use it, but I didn't have room for it. And a lot of collage that they've already done for you, which is really, really nice. In fact, I made use of that. I thought this was beautiful. I wanted to use it, but I didn't find room for it. And this is a beautiful piece, which I did use. Okay, we've got that. Another one. And that's just, boy, that would be beautiful in front of an album, wouldn't it? Okay, we've got that. So we've got these rectangular cutouts, and on the back you've got something else. So if one side doesn't suit your fancy, you've got something on the other. And we've got an all-over pattern, and on the back. So this is a smaller version of this one. So that's interesting. Nice to have that option. This is just absolutely charming. And on the back side, in fact, I'm going to leave that little guy out. And there we go on both sides. So you can see what I meant with the darker tones. It's not a bright in-your-face red. It's more of a vintage red. There we go on the back. And then this. So if you were counting, that's all of them. And then we also have the creative pad. Now this has, it's obviously larger. This is an A2 size, so A4 size, so it's a kind of a generous 8.5 by 11. Again, just like the first one, there are pieces that you can cut out on the front, and this does also have double-sided, and also some of the messages, and a lot of cutouts, just a ton of them, and then an all-over pattern on the back. So nothing goes to waste, and you just have so many. In fact, let me see if on the front they tell you how many. No, it doesn't tell me, but there's just tons and tons. You will be using them for many Christmases to come, and some really interesting things that you can combine also, all over pattern. Now you'll notice that this was in the other one in a smaller version, and that's true. Fun postcard. Many of these, they're only in this one. That's that same pattern that I presented to you. So now you have 3 sizes. This is just gorgeous. In fact, I'm going to set this one out. Here we go. And background. And then this one. And again, a lot of cutouts. So that's nice. And they're simple to cut out. There's no problem. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. Now, the stickers are not cut out, so they are on one sheet. So it's truly no big deal. You just trim around the edge, pull them off, press them onto your project, and rub them, and then lift off the top adhesive piece. So I'll demonstrate that. It's just easy. There are, I believe, 5 sheets, bright, vibrant colors. I didn't mix them with the papers because I just felt that these were so bright. I didn't want to, I didn't kind of want to mix them. So you'll see what I did in just a minute. So there we go. Okay, so there are 5 sheets. Oh, goodness. They don't tell me how many, but I'm sure there's, gosh, probably 50 at least of these. Probably in our product description we tell you that. So let's get started with our projects, okay? And we're going to start with this one. And we'll get in close so that you can see. And this is on our 5 by 6.5 inch card. And this is using the Toy Story paper pad. And what I found is that this was the sheet I used, and you can see him. I thought that teddy bear was just charming, absolutely charming. And this area just fit very nicely on my card. But I wanted to put something behind him. And keeping with the nostalgia look, I played around with different papers, and I settled on the tomato suede because the suedes just are such a saturated color that they just do a very nice job of mixing with pretty much anything, and you can see. So I didn't want to have a glitter, I didn't want to have a Mary. I wanted to keep that same tone altogether, okay? So I trimmed this just at the top there, down here, and then I went around the vintage toys little sign, and then I just attached it to the front of my card. So covered the card with suede and then cut out that little piece. But then I really wanted to play with my Merry Christmas. Actually, one more step before I did that. This, as you can see, do you see how this edge is darker? Okay, well, when I'm thinking about that, again, this has a vintage look. So it felt to me like this is a good candidate for being inked. So I pulled out my hunky-dory ink pads and set about with what would I use. And these were the ink pads that I thought might work. You can see that the mustard, the warm honey, the velvet fawn all kind of look like good candidates. So then what I do to test it is I pull out, and this happened to be the waste that I didn't use, and I just tried it. And I found that warm honey I thought for sure would work, but it kind of didn't show at all. I think it's too much the same color. So I found that velvet fawn is what I ended up using. So you can see the difference, and I think that's really nice to show you why and the end result of doing that. So, okay, and I do keep these and I use them. So now I wanted to do a pizzazzy Merry Christmas. So I went to our new Christmas cardinal, and this Merry Christmas I think is just smashing, and it's a nice, generous size. And I've actually not done this before, as silly as that sounds, but I wanted to mix two pieces, so let me show you. So I used the gold metallic cardstock, isn't that pretty? And the red glitter, and I simply die cut them out. And I knew that I wanted to, put one on top of the other, but I wasn't 100% sure of how to attach it. So I talked to Debbie, and her recommendation was the precision glue press. And so I did that. In fact, I ended up buying one. And so I put the gold down first, as you can see, and just positioned it. And then I attached the gold on top of it. And you can play with that a little bit. You might want to play before you got this on your card. So you can do this, going down a little bit, maybe going to one side a little bit. So you can do, just whatever you want. But I would determine how you want to have that gold being a shadow, which way you want it to be a shadow, before you get your glitter ready to go, because you don't want to smear the glue all over the gold, okay? It will dry clear, but why not just have a plan for when you get going? So it worked perfectly, and of course, with this, you end up having a needle nose piece on top. So you just undo this, and come on. Okay. Sure, this doesn't do this any other time, only does it now. Come on. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. So there's the needle. Yeah, maybe you can see it. There, you can see it. Okay, and that's going to be a very, very thin application of the glue, which is perfect, which is exactly what you want. And then there is a needle in here that's going to go into that opening and make sure that it stays open so that it doesn't become closed and full of glue. And we're going to stop playing with this and put it aside. Okay, there we go. Now, so that's what I did. I also, because it certainly needed just a little bit more, I did take the gold thin line dazzles and just placed a piece just right outside the edge of the paper, just to do a final touch. I just find that that adds so much. And that's really all it took. Now, for the inside of my card, here we go. I took that one that I've talked about so often. I took the tiniest version and I covered the inside of my card. And then I took one of the other sheets that I showed you. Now, I'm not going to go back through that. Well, maybe I am. Okay, here it is. This is the part, you know, I started thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll just a collage one, but you know, it's beautifully done for you right there. So, you know, why bother with it? So I just tore around the edge, no fair folding it first and then tearing it. No, 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 you just tear it. And you want to have the paper showing. So tear it so that the paper is folded toward you. And let's see, you want a demonstration of that? Okay. So let me do it here. So say this is my image. So I'm just going to start it a little bit, okay, to make sure how that is. So see, if I pull this top layer toward me, I've got paper showing. There, I've got paper showing. If I pull it down, I don't have paper showing. In this case, I wanted the paper showing. Now, why did I want the paper showing? Because I wanted to be able to ink it. Again, I want to carry that vintage look into the inside of my card. And that's a nice, generous space. But I haven't done anything about my Christmas theme. I did on the front, Merry Christmas, but I thought this needed something else. So I went into my Christmas Dazzles. Now this is a set that's Christmas greetings, and it's got script, it's got tiny words and phrases, all Christmas things are in this package, and Christmas magic, doesn't that just fit beautifully there? So that I thought was just perfect, and everything can be utilized in so many different ways. So that was the first card. So some new things to share with you, and let me tuck this over here so I make sure that I know where it came from. And that takes care of that. So this is the first one that I have done using this particular product. Okay, now my second one is this. Okay, again, very much the look, but a little bit more gilded, okay? Now this is coming from the Creative Pad, okay? And you can really kind of tell that just by looking at the card because this is such a large element. Now, what I did is I took the mirror, the metallic gold, that now I used it on the card where I die cut the Merry Christmas. This time I'm just going to use this to go onto the front of my card. Now my card's the same size, 5 by 6.5, but I put it down and just cut it to be smaller than my card. By the way, all of the directions and so forth are down below. Just click on the card and you'll see them. So then I cut out this piece. Just, it's rich, it's gorgeous, and just really, really nice. And I foam taped it in place. And if you can kind of think about this like this, how can I show it to you? I think that's the only way I can show it to you. It's pretty, but it's not finished. And when I took the dazzles, now I'm putting gold on gold, and it just elevated it. It just looked to me to be very gilded, and that's the look I wanted. So I used these strips right here, these curlicues on each side, and then I used a smaller one at the top and the bottom. Then I wanted to do something else. So in the center of the art, let me show you the art, there are berries, nice big fat berries. And I thought, well, come on, let's go back to our caviar beads. So I used E6000. Now you can use E6000. You can also go back to the Cosmic Shimmer glue, or you can use the glue press and use the caviar beads. Now, this is just a liner for a coffee, which I don't drink coffee because I don't like the smell of coffee, but this is good for this purpose. So all I'm going to do in this little demo, I've got another piece of the art, and I'm just going to do a couple of areas where I would want to put my beads. So all I'm doing is just putting dots of glue where there are berries. Nothing tricky. Then I'm going to pour my caviar beads on top. You will notice that this is not very delicate. You just pour those suckers on top, tap them off. Come on, little caviar beads. Okay. There we go. And they're going to stick. Now, just let them dry and they'll be fine. So, like I said, you can use, and then you want to return anything that is either in your bowl or your coffee filter back into your container, which is just a Ziploc baggie. And that takes care of it. Now, these will go through the mail just fine. Okay? So that finishes the front of our card. Now the inside, going to cover it totally with the metallic gold. Then going to cut out from this same sheet this gorgeous rocking horse. Isn't it pretty? With the music notes and that ornament in the back. I'm going to cut him out. I'm going to put him back with the rest of the products in there. And I'm going to glue him now kind of at the top of the card and to the left, over close to the fold. But then I'm going to use my same sheet. I'm going to use these diamonds going down here, and then the smaller ones around the other edge. Then I'm going to take this. Now, if you haven't seen these, they're quite beautiful. We have them in red, this gold, and silver. And two of them, these are a little over 3 inches wide, so they are nicely giant. Two of them have a star at the top, and one does not. So there's 3, and then there's lots of snowflakes and things. So just place it at the bottom right. And again, I've got the gold on gold in the front of my card and the gold on gold on the inside of my card. And again, it was pretty easy to do. But I've got some special elements going on that I really like. And for a message, I would write your message in here, just right there. That was a kitty here, I'm sorry. In fact, we have a new update on the kittens on the home page, so you might want to check it out. Okay, so there is my gilded. Okay, here is my Christmas tree. And at the Jarvie household, we're very big fans of Christmas trees. Okay, this is using Hunky Dory's tent slimline cards. Tent meaning that the fold is at the top. And when I looked at this sheet, this is also from the Creative Pad. This is the image that I like. Now, it's smaller in the paper pad, and that's fine, but I really wanted to take advantage of this and do something special with it. I loved the lace down here. I wanted to incorporate it, but I just kind of didn't have room, so that's how it goes. So I kind of measured her to see what I needed to do to get her onto this card, and discovered that she would fit perfectly. So because the image is so dark, and because it's Christmas, I wanted to have something bright. So two things. One was the light, but the other one was this. This is the gold sequin cardstock that will brighten anybody's day. In fact, you can kind of see when I put it here. And what's nice about it is that you really don't have to have it all over your card. I mean, you can just have it on the edges, and it just does such a pretty job. However, I also knew that I wanted to take advantage of that star. I really wanted to do something to highlight it. So the idea of using this, oh dear, here we go. Okay, so I wanted to take advantage of the one light. Now this comes in a package with two of them. They are so simple to use, absolutely foolproof. You're going to get two of these, so you can just separate them, yep, like that. And you're going to get two batteries, like this. Yes, I should have done this before the webisode, but bear with me. I'm going to pull this out of the little container that they're in. And all you'll do is slip this disc into that holder. Okay, there you go. Now, I'm going to slip this in, and okay, we'll find out. She's asking me if it's right side up. I don't know, we'll find out. Yes, it is. Okay, so I just slipped it in. There's a plus here, and it just tells you right here. So this little raised up little point, this is the light. That teeny, you want to get in closer? This teeny tiny little light right there. Look at that. Look how much light that gives. And all I'm doing is pressing on here. So what I did is I covered my card with that wonderful gold sequin cardstock. Then I cut this out. Okay, now you don't have to drill any hole in the paper or anything, because at first I was thinking of doing that, and then I stopped myself. So what you want to do is position this so that somehow you can press on this and have the light where you want it. So what I did is I thought, okay, how can I direct the person, the recipient, to push on the correct place? And I thought, okay, I can put jewel dazzles on these ornaments on the tree. That will do something. And I can put the light, or the place that you push, on the topmost place. Okay, so you see there's a jewel dazzle right there. You shaking your head? Yes, you can. Okay, so that's where I put this piece. And so all I did was position it on the back of my paper. And quite frankly, I taped it in place. Okay. Then I put foam tape on each side of it. And then I put foam tape around the whole piece of paper, and I put it on my card. Okay. So now I've got this all positioned, and then I put my jewel dazzles. Okay. So here are my gold jewel dazzles. There are 540 on that sheet. And I did do Lene's trick of using the jewel picker to pop them off, you know, push them down and place them on. And they do not cover every single piece of art, but they're just scattered, okay? Then I did, like I did on many of the cards, is I went to my gold thin line dazzles, and I put them on the edge of my card. Now, can you see? Yeah, there, you can see that. Just right on the edge of the paper. So that took care of this. Now, how can I tell my recipient where to push? Okay, well, because I told her right here, to see the light, comma, press the top right gold jewel dazzles. Okay, so all I did was type it in my computer, print it off, and this piece is in the creative pack, and so that I just did. But to get this white piece of paper to look a little vintage, I pulled out one of my old velvet font. Velvet font I use a lot, and I have it marked used, and I don't know why I didn't throw it away, but you know how we are, we keep things. So mark them if they're really used, and then I just lightly went over this, and it looked vintage. Voila! And I did it, this is 11 point. I did it in, you know, several different ones. I measured it, this is 1.5 inches wide, and just printed off one sheet in different sizes. And this is the one that fit, so I trimmed it out, inked it, glued it to this, and put it on my card. Now my inside of my card also has the same sequins. This piece is on, okay, so this was my girl on the front. This is actually the front of the package, and she was just lovely. So I just cut her to fit. I wanted the vintage toys because I think that's darling, and it's all over this set, and just glued her in place, nothing fancy. And that took care of her. And like I said, this tag is in the package too. So I really liked it. And again, you would do your message up here. So I felt really good about that. And I love using the light. And this is the first time I personally used it. I've demonstrated it when Debbie has used it, but it's really fun to have. And it will last a long, 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 long time. And that's really, really nice. So I'm going to set these together and put them back. So, okay, so that is my third card. Now, I haven't used the stickers, have I? Okay, so here's my thing about the stickers. They are really pretty, but they're bright. And so I could not do the things that I did with the artwork because the artwork is very vintage. But what I found is that so anyway, I tested putting them with the art and I wasn't really thrilled with it. So I thought, okay, Christmas is coming. I like putting tags on presents. And I found these tags, surprisingly, in a box in front of my office. They've been sitting there probably for 3 years. And so we're offering them to you. So they are large, and that's really nice. So I found that when you use the stickers, you can kind of collage them just by trimming them out and putting them down and then putting something over it. So as I flash this, you can see I'm just cutting, let's see, come on, there we go. Well, that's helpful, but I'm trying to get this shine on it. Okay, well, actually, it's the white area. Okay, so you just trim around it. You're not going into detail. You're just kind of going loosely around it. My term for that is you just whack it out, okay? So whack it out. Let me do one. Okay, here. I have do I have a tag? If I don't have a tag, I will have a tag. Okay, let me get a tag for you. And let me show you. It's just super simple. It's really more finding a fun way to do them. And at first, I was going to put them on paper, but I quickly found that I didn't particularly like that look. So here's the little teddy bear that I think is so cute. So he's not perfectly whacked out. So let me do this a little bit better. And the only reason why you want to do something with it is that if you choose to do what I've done, which is to ink around the edges, you don't want it to go into a funny shape. You want it to be compatible with your sticker. So that's what I'm doing. And many of these are also placed very close to each other on those sheets. So that's another reason that you want to go in, and you kind of have to cut them out anyway. So, okay, so we're just doing that. then, so there is the printed sheet and then there's paper on the back. Then you're just going to go in and separate it. Now you could use, an X-Acto, anything. I use my fingernail. Just separate it like that. So this gets thrown away. This little baby is going to go right on your product, on your card, on your tag, just like so. And you really can't see the edges much. And it just looks really cute. Now, if you wanted to put something in his hands or around him, probably should have done that first. You can do that, but again, these, they're opaque. They are opaque, so you just kind of have to take that in mind. So if I were to put his present on top of him, you'll still see part of him underneath, okay? You might want to lift him up or put something behind him before you put him down. Yeah, okay. Or get a smaller present. How about that? And put that next to him. Okay, so that way you can control it. Now, I will show you what else I did. But I just think he's adorable. The artwork is just, well, all of this artwork is very, very precious. Okay, so all I do is slip my fingernail in it. If you don't have fingernails, again, any scissors or something, that will work. You could have it over here. Okay, I'm just going to chuck it there. Okay. Then I went in and placed it on my craft mat. So I put 2 pieces here. And in this case, I used Air Force Blue and just rubbed it around the edges. And then I took my blue ribbon set, and I used the, as you can see, I used the gingham. So I cut a length. You're not cutting it it's not very long. And you're going to push the loop into the hole, bring it up, and then thread the ribbon tails through the loop, tighten it, and that does it. Now, I did put paper on the back side. That's when I discovered that the stripes would show under my train, and I didn't like that. Okay. Now, this is obviously the carousel horse, but this was empty here. So the vintage toys I cut out. Could you get in closer, Jeanette? The vintage toys I cut out, and I put it underneath the carousel horse on the sticker part of it, and then I put it onto the tag. This is khaki going around him. He looks a little plain, so I think I might have dressed him up with something else. I went into the green ribbon set and did the dots. Now, I was still kind of stymied by, can't I put something behind these? And I thought, well, as I looked at the art, I thought, you know what? There's a lot of gold in some of this. Maybe I can put it on gold. So I tried, and I selected the gold brush diamond paper because it's really gold, but it's smooth. So it would take the sticker, and that's what I did. So this is the gold diamond. I have 2 stickers. I have the thin line gold dazzles. I have them kind of hanging, and then I gilded the edge. And I did cover up the hole for my tag, but I could, I could punch that out, and maybe have red ribbon. That would be pretty going through it, or blue. So I offer you that you can do with these stickers a lot of very fun things. I'm thinking maybe you can put them on the front of the envelope that you're mailing the other cards to or with, and I think that would be very fun. So there's just a lot that you can do. So, well, there are so many of them, but they are so rich. and that's really lovely. Now this guy needs some help. I was also thinking of putting him on the gold. I wonder what that would do to his fur. Now this also comes in red and silver, so you can play with that. So I offer that to you as a fun toy to do your Christmas with. So just to recap, we have Toy Shop, which I kept calling Toy Story. It's Toy Shop Creative Pad, the Toy Shop paper pad, and the Toy Shop stickers. So very fun. Such a variety of looks too. You can get very fun looks, very elegant looks, and you can get looks with light, which is very fun. And then you can make, I would say, a gift tag for, or embellishing a card and an envelope for every single card you're going to be sending out, just about. So that's really fun. Now, there is a money saver with all of these together on the right-hand side of your screen. And if you are watching us on YouTube, we hope that you will give us a comment. We hope that you will subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that gives us higher ratings, and we're always looking for that. Then head on over to paperwishes.com. We would love to hear your comment on this. Tell me what you like. I hope you're going to try some of the different elements, because that's always fun, and you can tell that that's why this is called Paulette's Paper Play, because I really like playing with all of this. And again, there are instructions down below. I've written them out for you, so that will make it easy. And I want to thank you for joining us. This is very, very fun for me. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And thank you most of all for being part of our Paper Wishes family. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.